Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Talking Skritt, the Guild Wars 2 podcast about everything going on in the week of Tyria. I'm John, better known as Deo around Yak's Ben, and in honor of our 21st episode, it's gonna be I hope everybody has a drink, if you're over the proper age, where you live. That's the rule. So maybe 3 out of 4 of us on this show might have one. But we are going to find out today if the podcast is an angry drunk or an I love you drunk, because we have the Guardian Specialization was released and a bit of mixed signals. We have more information on future betas, not necessarily the one that we are hoping for, and so much more. So first, let me introduce to you my fellow co-hosts. First up, since it's the 21st podcast, maturity. No Ryan Reynolds jokes, none. Say hello to Jim.
Hi, everybody. I'm confused now. Like,
No,
this is... I was waiting for it.
Oh, it's maturity.
Oh, come on. I dropped one myself, and you just...
I don't know what you're talking about.
Next person.
And is a writer for Gamebreaker, and has not just a chip on her shoulder, but a char as well. And just ruined no, I'm kidding. Say hello to Robin.
Hi. I'm quite mature, I assure you.
Yeah, she just broke the whole maturity thing. So we're trying to go for her on this show now. And last but not least, a writer for Guild Mag. Say hello to Aaron.
Hi.
Really? I can already see the YouTube comments. Like, they're just off their game today.
I couldn't resist.
Well, let's jump right into it. I think one of the biggest things this time around was Guardian Specialization was announced.
I think that was the biggest news fair and square.
Yeah, I'll say how are feeling about that. If you didn't know, I mean, they're coming out with Heart of Thorns for the expansion, and
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's just in case. I'm getting everybody.
In which case, you should go back and watch like the last 15 episodes and then come to this one.
That's actually a better way to do it. Yeah, just do that. We'll wait. But anyway, this is the second one they've announced, and it's the Guardian Profession, and they came out with the name
Second one, third.
Dragon Hunter? All one word. I think that's important to know, because I've seen a lot of people on Reddit and all that stuff breaking apart. It's technically all one word. Don't know if that's
significant.
significant.
I've seen a couple of the devs tweet and be like, guys, it's one word.
So, I mean, first reaction, because they teased us with an image, which I think was maybe not the best one to do with Guardian. If you haven't seen the image, it has... Unfortunately, I didn't grab it, but... So,
Fired.
Yeah. It's basically, a blue...
You want to see him, act this out? Like,
a blue Guardian, of course, because everything's blue on the Guardian, who's wielding a bow.
Blue is important.
And has wings.
mm-hmm.
What
It kind
could
of
you
looks like
guys...
like a large one.
Yeah, they were pretty large angelic wings. And they didn't give us the name at that time. What were running through your guys' heads, and as well as the internet's heads on that one?
What was running through my head was, I don't know what that is, but I want it.
I was gonna say these two over here, they'd never played themselves.
Oh, no. No, I've played a Paragon.
Oh,
That's
you
what
have?
I was thinking. I didn't finish any of the campaigns, but I did play all the new stuff when it came out.
So
yeah, I've only
yeah.
done one.
So what that picture made me think was, oh, Paragon would have been a cool choice, but it's not going to be a Paragon because Paragons, they're not bow shooty people. So that wouldn't really have made sense.
Well, I mean, they said they weren't going to add any new weapons, so if they were going to give us Paragons, a longbow is kind of, the closest thing they could give us to throwing spears.
Well, like I just
Paragons
assumed.
threw spears?
Yes,
Yeah,
spears, one-handed spears were ranged weapons in
spears.
Guild Wars 1.
Weird.
Yeah, so since they announced at PAX South that there wouldn't be any new weapon types, when I saw the picture, I was like, oh, that does make me think Paragon, and Paragon would be a good choice, but it's probably not going to be Paragon.
And I mean, a couple days later, they announced actually what it was, and they had an accompanying video for it. Let's play it now for. And basically, it's, as we said, the Dragon Hunter.
I was
Now-
relentless as justice itself. Roar.
Is Arlie gonna? Okay, do you want to do the whole trailer? Like, just
Roar, dragon!
Are we going to Mystery Science Theater 3000 this whole thing?
we're gonna
Yeah,
compete with
sure.
Bog Otters because he's doing all these. So
Oh, gee.
you're directly challenging Richie Procopio right now.
The-
Rob.
the only-
I hope
the
you
only
know
I
thing-
don't know if I can do that.
The
I
only
think we
thing that
lost
really,
that battle before it started.
a lot of this
I
doesn't
got
feel like
you.
it doesn't showcase the abilities very well.
No,
yeah.
no, it
Like,
doesn't.
especially
Although I
like,
did really dig the trap thing there. That
well,
one.
that's
I like
that's
that
just
one.
the one AOE that
Well,
locks
yeah, but
people inside an area.
It makes things stuck in that area. It can't.
Yeah, but
leave the
that's
area.
one of the bow skills. That's not even a trap.
I know it's not an actual trap, but it looks like a trap, and it keeps the thing in the area, so it's a trap.
Okay, fine, but it's just I don't think that the dinosaur dragon thing wasn't exactly moving very quick, so
Well,
you
it's
couldn't
big. It's got to move those like so much body. It's like.
It's just it didn't feel like you really got an idea of it's locked in place with this. So
Yeah, I
I
mean,
thought it did because it was like starting to go forward, and then he did that, and it stopped.
well, they accompanied this with their blog post, and I think you guys were saying in the video was the video doesn't show off the skills very well,
Mm-hmm.
and there wasn't as much information, than what they had with the Chronomancer. But I think that was also because there wasn't really a new gimmick, Alacrity,
Mm-hmm.
which they used time to explain more.
Well,
I mean, I think that might have been the issue because it did seem a little lackluster.
well, when they talked about being able to fire an arrow that destroys incoming projectiles,
yes.
I kind of figured they'd have showcased that. I mean, that's kind of a big deal.
Well, I think
So-
he said on Ready Up that like a lot of them don't have the final effects of what they're doing and they're changing it, and I'm pretty sure that's probably one of the ones that they're still working very hard on finishing the effects. So like if it looks kind of bad right now and they're like this is totally not what it's going to look like, I can understand them not putting it in the video.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
what we
actually-
generally learned from the blog post was that we are getting longbow for the Guardian.
Mhm.
It's going to involve traps, and the virtues are changing. They briefly went into that with Virtue of Justice is turning into Spear of Justice, Virtue of Resolve is turning into the Wings of Resolve, and Virtue of Courage is turning into a Shield of Courage. And they're more active. Do you like that aspect where it's instead of what we have for virtues right now?
Yeah, the virtues are, in my opinion, they're the best part of the specialization. They're really a lot better than the current virtues, which are just,
Yeah.
you hit it. It's like, there's no
Hit it
interaction
today.
there. You just like, boom, done.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of bored.
To be honest, half the time I use my virtues, it's as I'm channeling Focused Resolve because it doesn't refresh the virtues until the end of the channel.
Yeah.
So, because I run, I have the one trait where buffing people heals you. So you
That's
run.
not good.
What? Did you break something?
Just keep going.
Okay. Got it. Like I run the one trait where if you buff people, it heals you. So, and then I have the other one where when you hit a virtue, you buff people. So that's like my gigantic survivability cooldown. So it's like Focus Resolve, buttons. I'm invulnerable. I'm healing, and now I have my virtues again. And the screen keeps flashing white.
Yeah.
Theo's hitting buttons. It's not
It's okay.
going well.
He's working on it.
Something
It's a work
reset
in
on the
progress.
back end, and I can't do it live. So we'll
Oh, well.
we'll just probably have to use our imaginations
We can do
on
it.
at least
It'll be fine.
videos. So
But yeah, and you know what you were saying, Aaron? I was thinking about it earlier. You could, with the way the traits are, you could completely ignore everything from Dragon Hunter other than the traits, because there's enough of the traits that are generic enough to be useful without using longbow or traps.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. That's
And-
probably what I would do personally, is just go with the virtues and stick with greatsword, because I'm not like, the bow is all right. It's good that guardians have a better ranged option, because right now our ranged options kind of suck.
Yep.
But I'm not interested in traps. Those are weird.
Well, I want to see like reworking how traps work in general. I want to see like where exactly they're taking them, because I think we've only heard some of the changes that they're making to them. I don't think we've heard all of them yet. So we'll see.
yeah, and I mean, I think that's an important thing to say is like on the Ready Up, people were coming in like this is the worst thing ever. They showed literally the first skill, and people were like, "Okay, this is yeah, okay, this is great. What? Give me more." Like,
Yeah.
so I really like how they're, like we said, doing the virtues. It's more active. What do you guys think about the traits? I mean, do you think it works?
well, like I was saying, yeah, like the traits, you have the ability to run the traits in such a way that you don't have to worry about traps or longbow. Like, you could run whatever weapons you were running before and also be a dragon hunter and be perfectly fine. Like, the one that I'm definitely going to run is the Wings of Resolve. You can turn it into an attack, which is an immobilize on targets where you land, along with the heal when you land. Chasing down someone as a guardian is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
That's going to be fantastic.
That was a really cool thing that Josh, when he went through the build at the end, he really showed how you can mix up using the different weapons with the Dragon Hunter spec, and like the different abilities with some of the stuff that you already have, and putting them together. I think it was just a real basic thing. I think once this actually gets in people's hands where they can really start looking at it and picking it apart, we're going to see some really interesting combinations, which I'm really happy to see that, because it would have been kind of disappointing to see like the specializations being more like hard formed. Like if they'd done something stupid, like if you're the specialization, you have to be using this weapon in some way or something, you know. So they're not doing anything like that, which is awesome, because it gives you a lot of options. A lot of options.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be fun to work with, and I think I said that leaving Ready Up. It's definitely going to be something I'd want to try as a secondary build. Maybe it might become my primary. I don't know, but I have to get my hands on it because they did a nice job of like with the bow skills. You can do great damage, long range, kind of like the ranger, how the further back you are, the more damage you do. Or if you're close range within a certain limit, it does a knockback. And you can trade it, so if you knock back, there's an actual trait that puts cripple on them. And then there's another trait that if you cripple someone, you do like 10% more damage. So you could be a melee, like pretty much close range longbow user, or you have that option to be far away and do the damage.
Yeah.
The other thing that I was actually looking at is, knockback is considered a CC, so with the Defiance bar, I'm a Dragon Hunter Guardian, and I've got my longbow. I run in within the threshold range, and I'm just chipping away at your Defiance bar by doing nothing other than auto-attacking, so that's something that's going to be pretty useful too.
Now, I think the biggest thing, and mention-wise, is basically the name Dragon Hunter. I know you're a fan of it. I think we have a even split, or maybe I don't care, and then don't like. I don't know. Like, how do you guys feel about it? And so, same with chat.
I don't like it. I think it's dumb.
I don't
Well, I
think
mean-
it's exciting in the name, but I'm not bothered by it either. I'm like, meh.
I see Dragon Hunter, and I think like a lot of the basically every time I've seen it from like a tabletop game, Dragon Hunters are we develop these ways to fight things, to fight dragons, but they also work against other big targets, which I think is one of the reasons they used when they were talking about the Dragon Hunter. So that's what I see it as. I do see it as kind of lackluster, but I also think that people are comparing it to Chronomancer, which had like previously established Guild Wars lore basis.
I mean, technically, not even,
is,
not really. I mean, it was canceled lore because it was supposed to be in Utopia, but it's nice to know that they held on to it, supposedly.
Well, it's not so much that, it's the fact that Mesmer's already show that, with Time Warp and other stuff, they do have limited access over time, limited power over time. The Chronomancer is just someone focusing on that. Dragon Hunter, like they were saying, is there was something about Bram taking up Air's bow, stuff like that going on.
Which I'm now really hoping that happens.
Yeah, that would
that theory,
be
and I was
really
like,
cool.
oh, that would be so cool.
That would be a cool way to get an in-game basis for the Dragon Hunter, and that's like if Destiny's Edge 2.0 is all going to become these paragons, these not paragons, these new.
You said the word.
I know I said the word, but that's a good way to introduce it, and it's a good way to introduce it into the story. But it's, I don't know. It does feel a little lackluster in comparison to the Chronomancer.
My thing is like, okay, we've also heard Druid. Druid's not all that creative of a crazy name either. Like, I think people are looking at, hey, Chronomancer, that sounds cool, but they're not looking at it as like the bigger scope of the names we know. Like Tempest is only interesting because none of us have any freaking idea what that means that the elementalists are going to do. If you just look at the name itself, Tempest is not that great of a name either. So like, I feel like people are focusing on the wrong
Too
thing.
much on the name.
I mean,
Well, and that's the thing. People say Chronomancer, like, they're kind of comparing it to Chronomancer. Chronomancer's not an original name either.
True, but it sounds cool.
It does sound cooler. And I think they're saying, by that, I think they're meaning there is supposedly lore set up for it.
What were you gonna say, Aaron?
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that out of all the specialization names we know, I think Druid easily makes the most sense out of all of them.
Really?
Ranger, yes. It has easily the most lore context so far. And Ranger to Druid makes just a lot of sense because Rangers are already very in tune with nature as it is, so Druid is a very obvious next step in the evolution of that class, to me anyway.
It's an easier gap to jump over.
Well,
like you're
Rangers
saying,
and
because
Druids
they're
often go together in D&D, so ta-da!
Whereas Dragon Hunter is much more out of the blue to me. It's just
Yeah.
it feels to me like they had no clue what they wanted to do with Guardian, and so they just kind of made something up, which is fine. It feels a little rushed to me.
I mean, you're saying with Druid, there's already that background lore with, kind of like we're gonna be in that area. Chronomancer supposedly has that Utopia Guild Wars 1.
That's not set in stone though. Like who knows?
No, but I'm sure they did, like, because they started working on it and then they realized they didn't have the engine couldn't really do what they wanted. I'm sure it seems like hopefully they kept some of the lore, but it's not. You're right. It isn't set in stone, and we don't know any of the lore, so it could be the same stuff. It could be something totally different, but I think it's going from the past, whereas I think we're gonna see the first Dragon Hunter in hot.
And you can work it into the lore easily. That's not a big deal. It's just philosophically, I feel like the step from Mesmer to Chronomancer makes a lot of sense because the Mesmer's ability to create illusions and bend the fabric of reality really fits well with the whole bending time thing because those kind of go hand in hand. And then the Ranger and the Druid for the reasons I already mentioned, but then we have the Guardian with the traps, and it's like, what?
Well, and we were dancing around the
that's the whole
subject
point.
of possibly where the bow's coming from is there's a theory going around that Bram's gonna go across to the new area with us. And if you don't know, spoiler for end of season 2, Air and all pretty much like Destiny's Edge crashed over there.
Minus Whitlock.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's off doing his own thing. That greedy.
Greedy.
I don't know.
Kitty?
But yeah, they crash over there, and supposedly people are saying he's gonna go over there, pick up Air's bow, and maybe try to slay the dragons in this kind of revenge or in honor of her type of deal. And if you don't know about Norn lore, supposedly this is how it's supposed to work. He's named Bram Aerson. Well, if you don't do like a big enough legend or something worthy of deeds, you're named after your parents. One of the dominant parent, which I guess in that case was Air.
Whoever has the better legend, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Which was there.
at some point, I guess you can change that if you have a great legend. I think maybe we help him. Maybe he helps us kill Mordramoth and becomes this hunter of dragons, or he might become Bram Dragon Hunter.
If we actually kill Mordramoth and he's a big part of that, why would it not be Dragon Slayer? Why would that not be the name of his legend?
Well, it's possible
why would he
that
be Dragon Hunter instead of Slayer?
Well, yeah. See, this is all speculation. Maybe we get all the way up to the foothold of Mordramoth and go, yeah, you can go now. This is our time.
Because Dragon Slayer would imply that you have slayed dragons, whereas if you create a level 1 Dragon Slayer, well, I guess you can't do that.
If
It's
this
specialization.
theory is right, does this mean we're not going to kill Mordramoth?
Well, I think that's reading into it a little much, but I mean, there
this
are
is
lesser
all
dragons.
speculation, and
There are lesser dragons, and Bram might be, getting really good at finding the lesser ones in a way to try and find.
Lesser Dragon Slayer.
Well, and you can have a level 80 character and spec into Dragon Hunter, let's say it's Slayer, for instance, without ever having killed a dragon. So I think if you're going to go the dragon route, Hunter's better, but it's
okay, Dovahkiin.
Just take your level 80 and kill Twaddle or Jormag or Shatter, and then you're a Slayer. Ta-da!
I just think the name has much too narrow a focus to describe a branch of a profession.
One of the complaints I saw brought up is technically everybody in the game is a dragon hunter because we're all fighting against the elder dragons. I kind of look at it as
story. We've killed an elder dragon.
Oh, can we stop with the Slayer thing? But it's one of those things where I'm looking at it and I'm like, yes, we're all hunting dragons, but do we all really consider it a specialty?
That's not the problem. The problem with the name's connotation. I don't have a problem with that. I just think it's
generic.
It's not a good name for a spec. I'm sorry. That's just, to me, it's not.
No, I understand. I mean, it's like I said earlier. I get my entire thought basis on the entire specialization from tabletop RPGs, and it strikes me as big game hunter, which, I mean, heck, there's one of the Grandmaster traits is big game hunter, so it just happens to be dragons.
It's kind of weird for me to be this way being a writer and stuff, but I really don't care what they call the specializations. That matters not really at all to me. I care about what they do and how they're going to change the gameplay and all of that stuff. I can't get over caring. You're like, all right, whatever. You call it wooby woody doody for all I care.
How do you spell that?
You might, Robin, after this, copyright that in case they're they take that. That's yours. There's money right there. Yeah, I'm trying to look at it as there might be a reason for it lore-wise, because I think that's where some people are having trouble with. It feels generic. Because it does sound generic. It's Dragon Hunter.
I don't think it feels generic at all. I think it feels too out of left, exactly the opposite. I think it feels too out of left field. It's just, to me, it strikes me as, what? That's my reaction to it.
I think part of it is because you were hoping for Paragon.
Like I said, I thought Paragon
The
would be
Band-Aid
cool.
off, man.
I thought it would make a lot of sense, but I wasn't particularly hoping for it. I thought they were going to come up with something I thought they were going to come up with a new name like they did with Dragon Hunter, but not Dragon Hunter.
I mean, I thought about like the way it seems like they're doing it, and like I said, this is once again speculation.
Can't
Speculization.
say the word now.
Specialization.
It's a
Didn't we have
specialization about
speculization
speculizing.
moment on the podcast before? I think that's not the first time that word's
Yeah,
come up.
no.
Oh, no, that's been
because it's
several
actually a
episodes.
word.
Yeah.
Speculation.
I don't even know what I was gonna say anymore.
Dragon Hunters.
Sure. I don't know anymore. I totally lost it with speculization.
Like I said before, my main problem, it's not a problem, I guess, it's just the main reason why I'm not particularly interested in this spec is the traps just don't grab me. I think they're just random, a random choice for the Guardians utilities. I think Guardians I think they would have done a lot better with stances, because I think stances could have synced up with the bow a lot better. And I think that traps would work so much better with the engineer, just due to the engineer's whole mechanical background and the way mechanical things can work into building traps and things like that. I think that would have worked so much better.
But the engineer could still have traps. Like, just because the Guardian gets traps doesn't mean no other class can get traps.
Do you think they'll give the same type of utility to multiple specializations for this?
Probably not this round.
Not just
Yeah.
it's not necessarily the utility, but like I could see them working in some traps there, depending on what they do with the engineer.
Honestly, I'm thinking that the way they displayed the engineer, because come on, we all know that was an engineer with a hammer. That was a Norn engineer with a hammer, with the drones flying around and everything.
Hey, I said that on the very first.
I know, we all did. We're all like, hey, that's an engineer. But they're more likely. It seems they're more likely to get like physical skills. To be honest, it seems like they're hybriding them with warrior. But as it stands, I think people like. Basically, one of the things people are expecting out of the elite specializations is we're taking the base class and hybriding it with another one of the classes.
Mm-hmm.
So here we've got Guardian Ranger. I don't think people were really expecting Guardian Ranger. And, I wasn't expecting it either. I like it. I'm probably going to use it. The traps seem fun. I mean, heck, I think I'm running some consecrations. I don't even really use my utility skills that often, to be honest. So I'll mess around with them, and if I like them, I like them.
I think the thing people need to really keep in mind is one of the things they said is part of the point of the specializations when they're doing it in this round is they want to change the gameplay of whatever class it is, to change up, make them able to do something that they couldn't have now, which is why I always said that bow for Guardian made a lot of sense because they didn't have any range. Which then when they add in traps and some of this other stuff, it makes sense because it does really kind of change what a Guardian does. And like Aaron says, it doesn't logically seem to flow, but that's because they were going for something different. They wanted to make it different and take it in a different direction that you couldn't do before. And I think as we get into the other reveals for the classes, people need to keep that in mind. Like, that was actually my problem with the Chronomancer. I wasn't very impressed or excited about that because I didn't feel like it changed things for Mesmers that much. Like, it gave them new, ooh, yay, things that they could do, but I don't think it really
It still all felt very Mesmer.
Yeah, it was like more the same, and keeping in the same grain with it, and it was kind of like, meh. For me anyway.
Luckily, that actually jogged my memory on what I wanted to say was not again. Speculation about the specializations. Like I've seen it going around on Reddit and the forums. I think this might be their attempt, and like I said, this is hypothetical, at maybe doing what something Guild Wars 1 players enjoyed about Guild Wars 1, dual professions or secondary professions. But they can do it a lot more controlled. Like they get to pick what aspect they want to bring over. So I think in the long run, remember, you can only take one elite specialization. So it's not like you're going to have, if you want to compare it to Guild Wars 1, you're not going to have a warrior elementalist necro. Because you can't specialize in more than one elite. So I think this might be their way of trying to do that. But like I said, this is the second reveal. This is way too early to kind of pick a pattern out of it. But it does seem like that they're taking aspects from another class that may make them unique or giving them to another one. But hopefully, I think if they do it right, like they did in Guild Wars 1, yes, you can be a warrior elementalist and do all the cool elementalist stuff, but if you really want to be a cool elementalist, you have to be an elementalist because it would give you that much more damage or an added effect to help out casting or whatever.
So
So I
wanna
think
take
that's
you
where they have
down
to do it.
the speculation road a little further. If that's what you think is where they're like making it into secondary classes, what do you think for Tempest for Elementalist? What class do you think they would be pulling in for that?
Oh, I can go on that because Ellie is my main warrior or thief. Clearly,
I could see Warrior. That would make
Probably
sense.
Warrior,
How would
yeah.
Thief make sense?
It
just
disappears in a flash of lightning.
no, sword thief is very dodgy, and
Okay.
I run dual dagger. So if you're going to be melee as an elementalist, you have to be very dodgy. I mean, a lot of what you can do as a dual dagger elementalist is a lot of evades on top of your dodge rolls. So Tempest evokes like again pulling from my tabletop RPG experience, there are Tempest prestige classes in various types, and it's always someone who moves fast, does a lot of damage. Their defense is moving fast, so that makes sense to me. Either warrior or thief.
Let me think. Thinking about what weapon it could be. Because
I think they already said they get swords.
Oh, did
Did
they?
they?
Well, I
say
think people
that?
data mined his
It was
skill
data
sets
mined. I think that
that
was
look
data
like a
mined.
sword.
I don't think they said it.
I mean, it
But
could be
there was
changed.
nothing
but-
guaranteed.
Yeah, I know they didn't mean to reveal that Elementalist was Tempest, so like I didn't know if something else got out there that I missed. But
Surprise,
Uh,
surprise! We didn't see some of those people on Ready Up. No, I'm kidding. I don't think they like. I think that would have been
I don't
bigger
really
news
like-
if they would have did something.
I think
I don't really
Elementalist
like the name
would be
Tempest either.
interesting. I don't. I'm kind of mixed on that one because like I don't know how it fits the class. Like I'm really confused about how that works.
because literally all we have is the name. And
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say
right.
let's.
speculation on the
I
weapon.
don't like the name, even though I don't know what they're doing, what their weapon is, how they're. I just don't
No,
like.
it's just I don't care for the name Tempest applying to being a descriptor for someone's specialization. I don't.
It makes me think of Shakespeare all the time.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm
I'm
not a
excited to see
Shakespeare guy.
what the rest of them are, and I do definitely want to speculate because once again they tease for another one next week. But before we do that, in Ready Up, one thing that, and this is why you should tune in live, though it did hit the forums afterwards. John Peters came in and he actually in chat was talking about changing up tomes
Yeah.
and basically getting rid of the elite tomes, which are Tome of Courage and Tome of Wrath. And basically, I believe Tome of Courage is turning into a Signet, and
Signet.
Tome of Wrath is turning into an Elite Shout. How do you guys feel about that? I mean,
I'm gonna run that Signet.
crap out of that Signet.
Oh, it fits perfectly with my build. It's point blank AOE heal every 10 seconds, and then I have it up right here. What's the other? The active is Light of Deliverance, which I think was the Tome of Courage.
It was one of the skills on the Tome of Courage.
Yeah, which is like a massive heal to everyone around you.
Yeah, I think it was like
Oh.
it was basically for straight Guild Wars 2 people. I think in WoW, like comparing to WoW, it was kind of like a lay on hands. Like I think it gives a full heal.
It was a party wide heal in Guild Wars
Yeah.
1.
So, and I think it's kind of similar here. So it's kind of like a super lay on hands for people that are coming from WoW.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds interesting. I'd want to wait and see, like, again, what it's like in game. Beta now, beta. Come on. I'm
Beta
ready to
is
go.
beta.
Yeah, I
Like they don't even have
definitely-
all the specializations out. You're like, just give me these ones. I'm good. Just,
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in using something other than renewed focus because I'm tired of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember circling through all of the Guardian elites, and it's just like these don't feel good.
and chat saying, preferred tomes. That's the interesting thing. Also, in that on the forums, he also said that they don't want to get rid of the idea of tomes. They like that idea. And we might, this is hypothetical. Like, this isn't like quote him and where is it in a month. He said they would like to do it in maybe an elite specialization or a specialization later on, which then as soon as I saw that, and then other people on, it's the internet. If you have an idea, it's already been said. I scroll down a little bit.
They promised it.
Well, I scroll down a little bit, and I was thinking the same thing of, some of the people that were responding. It'd be interesting to do like a kit concept, like, you get a skill bar, and I mean, what do you guys think?
Kits, but tomes.
Yes. I mean, would you guys like to see that? Or?
Kits.
Yeah. Like, that's kind of how they work now. You use your tome and you get your bar.
I mean, that sounds really cool to me. Like, I really like the idea of that. I would play that too. So. And
that's the difference between a tome and like conjured weapons and how the tomes work now is you basically got it for a limited time. Would you rather see it be a limited time thing, or like tomes as kits where when you switch to it, this is like your weapon or whatever for?
I don't like they're making a change, like comparing it to the engineer is because this would basically be the guardian engineer hybrid. They're making the heal kit more useful. Like, they're giving you a targeted heal on it, I think, or at least a line, something you can focus on, really. But instead of just dropping health packs. But I would be perfectly okay with the tomes being just permanent. You can use them, you can swap between them, and maybe if there was like an elite tome, have a timer on that. So that would be the only one that would have a timer, I think, or that should have a timer. But
yeah, I would agree. I mean, we're in that step now where, well, no, actually, because they were showing off the elite kit that they were working on, I think it's limited as well. So it would be right in that wheelhouse of hits over conjured weapon.
The mortar has a duration.
Yeah, it was like the transporting. I mean, yeah. Would you? Jim is saying he'd rather see it more of a kit style. Would you want to see it as a conjured weapon type thing?
I like kits, because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Conjured weapons and tomes both have super long recharges after you use it, whereas kits are recharged pretty much right away. So I think I'd rather see the kit.
Depends on the conjured weapon.
I would say I think the conjured weapons, like the non-elite ones, are like a.
Yeah.
But I mean, kits literally recharge in like 2 seconds.
Yes, yeah, because that's their weapon swap, which I think I said last week, or maybe I even said it all. What if there are specializations that actually maybe remove weapon swaps on professions, or maybe in the case of engineer or elementalist, maybe add one, or that might
as
be
long
there.
as long as they added a mechanic to compensate for the lack of weapon swap, that's not a problem.
I don't think I'd like removing weapon swap from anybody for the specialization.
Yeah, that would be kind of awkward.
Because
Well,
I mean, not if they implement a mechanic.
Yeah, if they give you like
kits that compensates for it. As long as they do that.
Because technically, if you have more than one kit, you technically have a lot more bars. So I can see it.
I don't want that to happen.
I would say I have upset Robin. I apologize. she is not happy with this.
No, I think that's an awful idea.
A weapon swap is kind of a big deal to mess with as it stands, because it's the elementalist, the engineer, and now the revenant are the three non-weapon swapping classes. And their mechanics, I mean, the engineer has the kits. The elementalist, you technically have 4 weapon skill bars per weapon set with the different attunements, and then the revenant is going to be able to change their entire second half of their bar with the swaps between.
Their swap is essentially the right side instead of the left side.
They have a utility swap.
Yeah. So it's, and I also think that kind of like changes a lot of the balance dynamics of a class, because I mean, you look at an elementalist and you're like, okay, he's running staff, scepter dagger, scepter focus, dual dagger, scepter dagger. You know what an elementalist can do if you see them. suddenly, you see them swap weapons, and it's like, whoa, okay, now I have to, deal with another set of abilities, and then they'd have to remove attunements, and there's way too much that goes on with attunements in the traits, because that would be the only
I
thing that
don't
would
really see them messing with that. But
I mean, it's an interesting idea. It would be really hard to balance.
Yeah, I would just originally thinking of ways they could change up professions if that was their desire with specializations. And by the sounds of it, it would really change things up, and so far people aren't a fan of it. So you're welcome, ArenaNet. I already troubleshooted it for you. Oh yeah, I actually brought it up. Ooh.
what were you thinking?
And at the end of Ready Up, they've actually, once again, like I said before, teased the specialization in the sense of we're doing another one next week.
Yeah, I was going to say all they said was like, there'll be another one.
Yeah, no image, nothing.
Figured.
So it probably will fall in the same line of like Monday they might tease the image. Like I said, that's not set in stone, but it seems like that's been the pattern.
Monday Twitter image, Thursday blog post.
Yep.
And I was going to ask, what do you guys think should be the supposed next one? And chat's already saying thief.
Age, you're going to say thief for everything.
Yeah.
Eventually he'll be right.
This is true.
Elementalist. I want Elementalist.
Yeah, I would like to see Elementalist, but then again, I said that's my
Or
main,
Ranger.
so.
I'll take Ranger too, but Elementalist.
I honestly don't think they'll do Ranger until closer to the end because we already know it's Druid. So
I figured that part. I was like, it's the downside of it being the first one they announced. It's probably going to be like last or second to last because I think Engineer is going to be near the end too.
Necro is definitely the one I'm most interested in seeing.
I was
actually,
going to say, I definitely want to see Necro. I want a Minion Master.
actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, it might be Thief or Engineer.
No, they
Because
had barely anything done for
light-
the Engineer.
Okay,
They're
then
not gonna
probably
do it
Thief
yet.
because they did light armor, they did heavy armor, so that's another possibility.
So we're getting
So it could be Ranger.
we're getting NG, Warrior, Necro. So good news is we have covered every profession possibility. So we're all right technically.
That's the one that like nobody seems to care about is the warrior. Like I never hear anyone asking, "What's the warrior gonna be?"
What
No
are they
one
going to give a
cares.
warrior? Like that's one of the things where it's like, what are warriors going to get? What
Dagger
new
would
weapon
be
can
my
they
guess.
get?
Dagger, I think, is what it'll be.
But you know what? I can tell you, it's not going to be Mesmer or Guardian.
Warrior and their sub one will bring in Elementalist, so they'll be like fire.
Go on. No, we're listening.
That's all I have.
Oh man, that just fell dead. That
Yeah.
fell as dead as a warrior with a fireball. I mean, that spike damage alone. Fireball followed by like what is it, 100 blades? There you go.
Yeah, because that'll work. Though, mixing warrior with elementalist would be kind of a cool idea. I like the thought of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you could do like a battle mage or something, or something more original.
it would be
I was
really
gonna say if we start mixing warrior with elementalists, just nix the professions entirely and go Elder Scrolls. 'Cause
Well,
they're
like
pointless.
they're going with this. It's mixing in a much more focused manner. I mean, a warrior elementalist could be someone. I mean, Deo's been wanting this forever. Someone who fights with conjured weapons, and you swap between the conjured weapons are kits.
Just gave me hope.
No,
I
if
mean,
they do that, that's gonna be really silly.
Shut up, Aaron. You.
Well, somebody in chat pointed out they're going in alphabetical order from what the specialization name is, because they did C for Chronomancer and D for Dragon Age. So, Dragon Age?
You've been playing that a little too much, Charlie.
To be fair, you can't claim alphabetical order after 2 reveals. Like
Yeah, we don't have enough for a pattern
It's
here.
not enough to go on for that.
It was either going to be alphabetical or reverse alphabetical.
We can actually be pretty sure that the Revenant is going to be last.
Well, they're
Wouldn't
not
that be
gonna
hilarious if
reveal
they
the
just did it in the middle
Revenant
before we
is
had the other
special
ones?
So,
Revenant's not getting revealed before launch, as far as I'm aware, right?
no,
Well-
I don't think so.
I haven't heard anything official from that, but
They
it would make
probably-
sense.
They'll probably end up like revealing it, maybe not before Heart of Thorns launch, but probably after they do the pre-patch for Heart of Thorns. I
Maybe.
mean, helps to
Yeah.
get people hyped up from the new class right before the launch of the game. So
That's what I would expect, definitely.
So I think it would be hilarious if they announced the Revenant's Elite Specialization before they even announced the rest of the other specializations.
that'd be weird.
This is what you can be in conjunction
Speaking-
with the two that we've revealed.
Speaking of, like talking about the Revenant, what was it? The Mace auto attack, the third hit chains to enemies behind the primary target. I like how they're adding that into the other specializations because the bow does that for the Guardian. If it hits 2 targets, it cripples them.
Yep.
Like I really like how they're making more use of that. I'm a fan of that.
And
Sorry,
actually,
bit
I
of
know
a
I
tangent.
said that they might give Warriors Dagger, but Staff would be a good option for Warriors too. I don't know if they'd give the same weapon type to 2 different specializations as a new weapon type, but Staff would be a
I
good
think-
choice for Warrior.
I think that's not off the table. Like,
Yeah.
No, especially because
yet, but
especially since they'd be using it in a different way.
mhm.
So
Mhm.
like an actual melee weapon. And what was it? We saw Ritlock using it as a melee weapon, and I don't think it would be off the table to see. The Revenant is a completely new class, and so they're getting a whole new weapon set over here.
Mhm.
I don't think it's a bad idea to give someone else a staff as a melee weapon. So yeah,
Especially
Warriors
since
getting staff.
Since if any class would make sense to be wielding the staff as a melee weapon, it would be the Warrior.
See,
Yeah.
now I'm really hoping that it's Warrior Elementalist for whatever their specialization is. My hopes are now up.
I'm sorry.
Actually,
not
if
gonna
it
be
would be that, it would work. I feel it would be kind of cool to work like as like an enhancement shaman from WoW or something, where you kind of enchant your weapon. Could be the bow, like a bow staff style thing,
hmm
with the different elements. Or actually, I'm changing my answer. Instead of Necro, I want to know about the warrior because we know nothing. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, now I'm like, I've got to send a message and be like, Izzy, seriously, do Warrior Elementalist. It's got to be. Come on.
So
And,
my,
Oh,
Chat saying possible main hand pistol too. That would be pretty cool too.
meh.
Maybe people could actually use the what is the pirate heavy armor.
I really hope they
Was it
don't do
Buccaneers or
pistol just in one hand anymore. Just because it just reminds me of like Mesmer. They're like, can we have it in both hands, please?
Yeah. That's
they're
because
just like, I'm trying to pick it up, I just can't do it. Something's stopping
I
me.
know
He
how to
switches
hold
hands,
it
he's
in
like,
this
"Oh."
hand. I just can't do it in this hand. How does
I mean,
that
I like the
work?
idea, but
It's
yeah, as
Final
soon as he
Fantasy
switches it to his
12. How
left
do
hand,
I
he's like,
hat?
I don't know. My
but I mean,
problem with doing a spec like giving Warrior like blatant magic is that Warrior's a class that doesn't really
Rely
use
on
magic.
magic.
Now, if
yeah.
you're gonna pull, you can pull the lore card and say in Guild Wars 1 you could dual class, and so Warriors could use magic.
Mhm.
But
Well,
in Guild
everybody's
Wars
supposed
2,
to have magic now.
in Guild Wars 2, I feel like professions are much more. You guys are gonna think I'm super close-minded for thinking like this, but Warriors are martial weapon specialists. That's what they are. You can expand them on that. You can expand on that with staff or dagger or pistol or things like that. I think they should stay in the martial weapons category because that's what they are. Expand the class, but stay true to what it is.
I can
I don't
agree.
think you should be coming out of left field and saying, well, this is a thing now because why not? I don't like that. It's too
Well,
random.
what aren't warriors good at? Like, what don't they do currently?
They
Range.
don't conjure fireballs.
Well,
That's
but,
something
but
warriors
I mean,
don't do.
within the realms of like what you've set up here, what aren't they good at? And I would say range. They really don't have a lot of support for their ranged weaponry.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Because,
So-
like, that's what they were doing, especially with the Guardian. They thought about what the Guardian doesn't have and then built from there. And the Guardian doesn't have range. So if that's the same thing for Warrior, too.
they're not
know,
good at
the
underwater
warrior
combat.
has-
They're getting harpoon.
But I
Nobody's
mean, the
good at
thing with
underwater
the difference
combat.
between warrior and guardian range-wise is warrior ranged options are pretty decent, whereas
Mhm.
the guardians were
Ranged
bad.
options suck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Scepter's okay, but the auto attack isn't great because it's single target and slow.
Yeah. Guardian
Um,
staff was kind
going-
of right, but not really.
Going on what you said, Arlie, about supporting what wasn't good. Mesmers aren't fantastic at multi-target. They're not good at AoE.
Mhm.
And Chronomancer Wells, I mean,
Well,
that's
I
nothing but
mean,
AoE.
yeah.
So
I'd say Mesmers are decent with AoE because of shattering, but just
they're
with their
good
weapon
at
skills, they're not really.
Well,
they're
there's
good at
issues with shattering though. Like it doesn't always work well.
and shatter like happens. The clones run up to the target, and
Mhm.
so your AoE is determined by where that person is. You
Yeah.
can't AoE where you want to. You can't tell your clones shatter over there.
I mean,
So-
Glamours are pretty good AoE too, but only if you trait for like Glamours Blind and Glamours do Confuse and stuff.
Mhm.
which means you have to do trait support. Now this is baseline support for targeted I want it there AoE,
Yeah.
which is something that Mesmers didn't have. So, I mean, and now we've got decent long range for Guardians.
Mhm.
Warriors, I mean, I use rifle, and rifle is pretty good. I enjoy using the rifle. I do a lot of damage. The kill shot, the F1 burst skill, great, fantastic, does a crap ton of damage. I'm still surprised by it, even though I've been running rifle on my warrior for a while now. That's the only thing I can think of, like, is that their ranged options, like, they don't have a lot of support for their ranged options. I mean, I think there's a trait for longbow. I don't think there are any traits for rifle.
Yeah, there's traits for rifle to increase range, I think. Maybe not.
And I mean,
not
the
increase
only-
range, but decrease skill recharge. That's
Only
it.
one-handed weapon we've gotten so far as a new thing is shield. I don't think they've ever denied that if maybe they go the route of, like Chad's saying, a pistol, would they possibly give them 2 pistols? Just so
No,
they
I
have
don't
all
think
5
so.
skills.
No, because they made a big deal about
Because you could combine the offhand and main hand with different things, and that
Yeah.
would
What
give
was
them
it?
way more versatility than the other specs.
I remember the blog post. I think you were about to bring it up, Arlie.
yeah, they made a big deal about saying, when we give somebody like a two-hand weapon, they get the 5 skills. If we give them just the main hand or just the offhand, they're only going to get those
Oh, okay.
those halves. But they're going to get other things that hopefully will balance out the discrepancy there. So I don't think we'll see something like that. I also don't think we're going to see something where, like, people were saying for a long time for Mesmer, they were hoping that what their new thing was going to be was pistol main hand, because every Mesmer wants that. And I understand wanting that, but I never thought that was going to be one of the options, because what I understood them a long time saying ago is they wanted a completely new one. You could already use it. It's not a new weapon, even if it's in a new hand. So I don't think we're going to see anything like any class that has one weapon usable in one hand suddenly being able to use it in the other hand too. I don't think that's going to happen in specializations, at least not this round. Maybe when they do them down the road, we'll get that, but not this. I don't think so.
Well, and I think ultimately we will find out next week. I mean, that
Well,
a
we'll
lot
have
of
to wait for
possibilities.
Monday to get the new splash art. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll at least know what profession it is. But hopefully we'll get to test this stuff in beta, and on that, you haven't gotten your beta portal yet. Apparently this is the the final weekend for it. They
Oh, did
posted
they
that.
announce that?
Yeah, they posted on Facebook and Twitter that this will be the last weekend to get portals from Drytop and Silver Waste. Now, maybe that means they've collected enough people, whatnot, because they did say that they wanted to do it for 2 weeks. It might extend it. They weren't sure, but now that they're announcing this, I guess 2 weeks was good enough. I mean, does this mean that this next beta is on the horizon? I mean, think they're gonna hold off half the specializations, all the specializations? I mean,
I was kind of hoping that the next beta test would be for the specialization, since that's the next big reveal that they're doing. But I mean, they might be doing something completely different. We know it's a PvE beta. They haven't said exactly what it is. So
There's potential that they might want to they might want to break up the specializations and do like have just the ones that they've talked about in and focus on getting those tested, and then the next one after that or later would be the rest of the specializations and focus on really getting those in and how they work and all of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that would be more likely, just because if you don't remember from data for Guild Wars 2 originally, like you couldn't play all the professions, you could or not all the professions, all the races when they were testing like zones. So maybe they are trying to, I mean, weird thing, use it as a beta test and test out their, like maybe they think 3 or 4 professions, maybe 2, maybe it's tomorrow and they are announcing it's surprise. I doubt it, but
I know, yeah.
yeah. But I mean, when do you think would be a good time? I hear a lot of people saying in general HOT's going to be competing with Elder Scrolls Online's console releases.
And I'm starting to feel like it's going to be later than August. I don't think we're going to see it in August. I feel like it's going to be later.
There's so much testing still to do. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, and
honestly,
started, like serious closed betas.
Yeah.
Honestly, if they were thinking Quarter 3 for Heart of Thorns, I don't want it to happen until it's ready. Like,
Yeah.
I'm hyped. I bought my ticket for the train. That happened with the trailer.
Yeah.
I can wait. I want it to be a good game.
Yeah.
So now that I think about it, I do agree with you. If they do PvE betas after like 3 specs are revealed, and then they lock it so that you can only create a beta character for one of those 3 professions,
Mhm.
and that they kind of make you choose, like, one of your specialization lines has to be the elite specialization,
Yeah.
just so they get their beta information. I mean, betas, you don't get to do whatever you want to do in a beta. You can't sit there and play the trading post in a beta test. I'm fairly certain people have tried, because I know people that would go into a beta thinking, oh, I'm just going to play the game the way I normally do, and
Yeah.
there are people who do nothing but play the market in a game. And you know what? If that's fun for you, fine by me, that's cool. But I mean, in a beta, that's kind of like going back on last week when we were talking about PvP people getting into a PvE beta test.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
if you're playing the trading post, you're not testing the content that you got into test.
Yeah. Well, as soon as they revealed that they were giving into this beta by the portals that drop in Silver Waste, my hunch was that, okay, they're probably going to be doing a PvE beta, because that's how you get those people. Like, you don't
Yeah, I would
want
hope
to.
so.
Yeah, and I know some people were complaining because they only like to play PvP and they wanted a chance at the beta, and I was like, this isn't for you. I guarantee you this beta test is not going to be for you, because they're not giving you a way to get into it. They're trying to do something specific, and that's what they're doing. I'm sure there'll be other ones where, the PvP people can do what they want and they can get in that way, and now they've revealed that this one is going to be a PvE one, so I think it's a really smart way to do it, to focus on getting the people who play the mode that you want to test. It's really awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, I think overall, talked about it last week, but it seems like it's not going away. What do you guys think of the RNG method in game over basically an RNG method through E?
I like it.
It's
Like,
I mean, it's better because it allows people who want to test your game to have a better chance at testing your game.
My only issue with it, is if as soon as you get the portal, it flags your account for being in the beta, that should kick in something else that says you can no longer get the portal, because I know it doesn't affect anybody else's chances. It's just frustrating to see other people with like 10 portals and you're sitting here going, I still haven't got one. Like, it's just frustrating. There's no reason that should exist. It shouldn't be like that. Why?
I mean,
Back to that
even
IRC
worse.
conversation, Arlie.
Even worse, like the one time we were in the Silver Waste and someone had a stack of 251 of them.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, stack of 251. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that was funny. that was one of the best moments. It was like, oh, you tried so hard.
Yeah.
Such a little baby troll pat on the head.
And a lot of people are complaining about the RNG nature of it. It's like and people have led to saying it should be like skill based, like you have to do something. It's like
You are doing
then it would
something.
be unfair to like this is supposed to be random. Now, if this was an actual item in game, then yes, maybe have stuff that's RNG, but also have stuff that's a skill based thing, like special
I just
looking
thought
armors.
of like one of the craziest methods of getting people into a beta. So like have this area and like close it off and just have like portals around it that you can enter in, but you can only enter in the one time. And in the middle is like a giant maze. And the first like however many people who make it to the middle and click on the item get in the beta, and everybody else doesn't.
No, because that runs into people with connection problems.
But
People
it
in the
would
middle of
be
nowhere with
funny.
terrible. Yeah, but I mean that's like honestly RNG on drop rate. I mean it's anything that you kill, anything that drops loot, and any event that gives loot.
Yeah.
So that's something that if you play the game, you get.
I think the way they did it was great. I'm happy with it.
Actually,
I
now
would
that you're
like to see
saying
it
that,
better.
I think there's a better way to do it in game, of course. Line everybody up in one zone, a string of devs in front of the portal to this Maguma jungle. They have a list. They go, and I'll use us as examples. Be like, Red Rover, send Deo over. And you have to run through the devs. If you can make it through into the portal, you're good.
Well, it's a good
Get to
thing
go in
there's
the
no
beta.
player collision.
Yeah, I was gonna say that won't work so well in this game.
Well, they'll have dev things. They'll just be like,
This person's not okay. Stop him! Stop him!
said something bad on the podcast. No,
He
They don't-
doesn't like Roggins. Don't let him through.
that guy doesn't like mail carriers.
That's the least of my sins. I've been a bit scathing in quite a few articles towards ArenaNet, so I don't
Okay,
think
you're
I don't think they
stacking
like.
up the things.
Yeah, I don't think they like me very much.
But yeah, I think ultimately I agree with what Chat's saying. Like, if it was skill based, like some people were suggesting, everybody would have been in it,
Mhm.
or pretty much the majority. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
And-
if you want to talk about like hard PvE content, you put it in fractals. You put it in high-level fractals
Yeah.
because
Oh
that
my god, that would be great! An
No.
item you can only loot by finishing a level 50 fractal.
there would be
by
like
getting
Awesome!
by getting carried by your husband through a level 50 fractal.
there would be
Ooh.
like
Hey, it doesn't
10
matter.
people. Okay, more than 10 people, but like it would be
There's a lot of people.
0.01% of the players
Yeah.
of Guild Wars 2 PvE content.
I'm pretty sure like 7 people in the whole game do level 50.
well, granted,
fractal.
if they do a beta, because they are having the mastery trait that has fractals in it,
Mm-hmm.
if they do a beta specifically for that, sure. If like maybe at the beginning have like level 50 fractal stuff, but then maybe having it go down to like 30 or something so they can get a bigger number. Like, but
You
yeah,
know,
I would be fine with that.
Especially if they're testing new fractals.
Yes, exactly.
Well, that's one thing they said a long time ago, and I don't think it's on the table for hot at all. But when they get to the point where they said they want to add more instabilities and higher levels and stuff too. When they get to doing that, that would be fantastic. I would love for them to do it that way. Hi, Kitty Tail.
Cat.
You a Bond villain now? What?
Yes, I'm totally a Bond villain.
Tete.
But I mean, this week we did get beta news. Unfortunately, it wasn't for this supposed portal dropping beta. They first started talking about the World v. World Desert Borderlands stress tests.
Mhm.
And they did make it clear the different types of beta tests that they wanted to do within this. I think the first one they were talking about was SPVP, how they did the strongholds, where they had it open for like one night publicly.
Mhm.
Talking about, PvE stress tests where it's either through the mailing list or this, thing that they're trying with the portals. And they were talking about the World v. World one. They seem to they're going to go a route. I think they said in there that they weren't sure exactly how they're going to do the inviting process. They'll release that at a later time. But they want it to be a more selective affair, it seemed like. I mean, how do you guys feel about that? Might not be able to randomly get into it, possibly.
I'm okay with that. I mean, there's enough people complaining in World v. World about PvE people coming in just to get, dailies done and achievements and everything.
Yeah.
I can dig it.
I think as long as whatever method they come up with targets the people who really do world versus world and enjoy that, then I don't care. That's fine. Like, as long as they're focusing it on getting the people to test what they want to test, it's cool. I'm chill.
I think Aaron doesn't want to talk anymore in case they do that Red Rover thing.
I was watching the kitty.
Completely distracted by the cat.
Yeah.
Aaron's like, talking? What?
There was a kitty on the screen, and I was just like, wow.
It's like, we're like, Aaron. He's like, yeah, Char.
No, I mean, I think the separating the different types of betas, like they described in the blog post, is perfectly reasonable.
Yeah. Didn't they say in the blog post that, like, whenever they do, like, stronghold testing, that's going to be open to everybody, to have everybody be able to do that?
Because technically PvP is already a relatively closed system. If you want PvP, you have to enter the Heart of the Mists and then go into it. So.
Well, also, I think especially with strongholds, that's smart because they are angling that one towards not just PvPers, but people who PvE but maybe want to try some PvP. It's kind of like a breaking you into kind of map.
Which in that case is a great way to make it like an open thing like they did with strongholds.
Yeah, basically stronghold tests are going to be open, PvE tests are going to be closed with invites, and then the WW tests are going to be closed and run on a separate client entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. The separate client thing was really interesting to me because everything else has been, being loaded into the game by itself. Like everything else has been through the game client we all have installed right now.
Yep.
The only thing I can think of is they don't want to basically interrupt the World v. World rounds right now since they're replacing the maps. So you have to be over here on this client so that they can't just flag your account. So that every time you go into World v. World, you go into the beta maps, because then, your server is screwed in whatever round you're in.
Get into the beta, all you can do is the beta World v. World, all the regular. Too bad.
And then you notice, like, one server above all others suddenly has, like, nobody in World v. World, and it's like, oh, I guess they got into the beta. Well, let's say screw those guys and take over stuff.
This is our chance.
Well, and ultimately, how would you guys want them to select people for this, since they haven't they're not revealing, or they're not even sure?
I think you should have to write an acceptance essay.
Like trying to get into college.
Yeah.
Oh, do they have to have a decent SAT score too?
Send your resume.
Something they still do, or is it? I thought
they bumped it up to 1600s.
Yeah, WW resume.
I think just to be kind for their sanity, that's not how to do it. Don't send them don't send ArenaNet your resume to say you want to be in World v. World.
I talked last week about the gigantic WW achievements. How utterly massive the requirements are.
Screenshot those and send that as your application.
Well, I mean, they already have those as the metrics.
I was going to say, they don't need you to submit that. They have that. They can access that.
They already know the people that play World v. World all the time. Because
it saves them having to look it up, though.
Yeah.
That's somebody's job.
I know, it's my job at my work, and it sucks. As the resident looker-upper guy, send them the info. It'll make it a lot easier on whoever's sorting.
So you're not a science guy. You're a looker-upper guy.
Yes, I'm a data entry nubcake.
I'm sorry.
Yay, data.
I did data entry once and never again. Just no. But yeah,
I think Jim's having flashbacks. I saw him shake there. He's like,
I traumatized him.
Let's get away from that topic. I feel bad now. Like,
no,
I think I'm irritating everybody slowly. I irritated Robin about the specialization.
How many people do you think have those World v. World achievements completed?
No one. I don't think anyone's finished those.
Like some of those ones, like
nope.
There's got to be at least one person.
No, I don't think anyone's finished a single one of them.
No, because like, what is it? Yak Slappers like escort like 1 million, like.
Yeah, they're literally all 250,000 or more. I don't think anyone's finished a single.
Yeah, I don't. Which some people, have complained about that. It's absolutely ridiculous that.
Yeah.
But I mean, moving on to what actually came in game, gem store stuff, and I'm gonna see if this one's working. So here's hoping. First, it was the Daydreamer's Finery, and yay, it worked. And basically, it'll rotate through all the different races with male and female. What do you guys think?
Different female and male for Azura. Woo!
That's probably the only good thing about this. Like that they actually split the Asuran male and female, although it seems the Char, you both use the male model.
Yeah, that annoys me, but yeah.
I
think they're okay.
I like the human, and luckily it's just coming up. Like, I like the male human, like, back. Unfortunately, there's a...
You don't want to see the rippling chest.
Well, fortunately, but unfortunately, there's a front. I had to make sure I said that right. Like, I think I've said it...
Davio.
I did think about that for my Norn Davio. I was like, that's enough chest for Davio. And while it's up there, I do like if you can match the skin tone for a Sylvari. For some reason, works. At least
the
for
Sylvari are really lucky in that a lot of the stuff that look really weird on other races, if you can match your dyes to what your Sylvari is colored, you can make something look really good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's an outfit. And since you can't mix and match it, it's all or nothing. It's like on the female, it's very generic, and on the male, it's bad. So,
well, like I said, for
it's bad.
For the human male, that dye job,
bad.
like I think that's the important thing is find the right dye job. That like black and red, it reminded me of Guild Wars 1, like the Crichton and I think Monumental Necro, that had kind of had like it was fancier and it had like the I don't know what to call it, like the seams or like those like vein looking things, like the. But unfortunately.
Go on.
But unfortunately, like even in Guild Wars 1, they had like a little V-neck. Here it looks like they went too far with the V-neck. Like.
Yeah,
there's no neck.
Yeah.
The chest
got a neck. It's just
is kind of hysterical to me. Like I just.
I'm wondering what the basis was.
Well. You
like
know,
a lot of the
it's
other
gotta
stuff.
be like, hey, we do sexy things for the female character. Let's do something sexy for the men.
I was gonna say a lot of people have always asked for that, and I think this is their response. So if that population, wants it, sure to buy it and support it. I think that's the best way to go forward with it.
If that's your cup of tea, I understand. It's just I'm not feeling it. That's all.
Yeah.
The one thing that I don't get is like the colors that they use for a lot of the outfits in the gem store, like that green, blue. I don't know what the hell they were thinking there, because it kind of looks really weird. Like the colors, you can't really tell where all the dye channels are. I think it's when we go back to the humans, it's like the first one of the humans.
Yeah, I think the female human is actually like the proper dye.
Like the original dye color.
Yeah, the original one, which is like a weird lime green neon. It's there it is. I think that's the one.
I don't.
Oh yeah, it kind of all blends.
So you can't really like it. It doesn't make any sense. Like the Balthazar armor, it's metal. You can dye it. It's like what you get: the metal of the plating, the cape on the back, the horns, and nobody knows what the fourth dye channel is for.
It's the if you dye that channel, it's the gateway to the human gods. I don't know if you knew that.
Cool.
That's where they are.
You have to find
That's
the right
where they
color.
are, and the fourth dye channel is where the human gods are.
But with this, it's like you can't really, like, no, you didn't really care about the Balthazar armor because the base colors were fine. With this, like, the base colors are so weird that I can't really get a good idea of where the coloration would go if I changed the dye channels. So.
Problem solved by not buying the outfit, am I right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
But yeah, it is 700 gems. I mean, it's right in line with all the other bits. I think I already know the answer to this, but are you guys going to be picking this one up?
No.
Now,
there's a whole lot of head shaking over here.
Now, would you, like, if it went on sale, like, when they kind of do it, like, months down the road, Ouch.
No.
Nope.
Not my thing.
I mean, granted, I might use the excuse that people say, like, oh, this is why I make a female character, because if I have to stare at the backside of something all day, I'm only going to see the back, and I like it for the male human. I don't
But
care what
you'll
my
know.
front looks like.
No, you'll know. You'll know.
You will know mentally.
Deep down, you'll know.
No,
I'll be
I mean,
happy about it now.
It's another one where I would get it if I could mix and match it, but you can't. So, like, I can't imagine wearing the entire outfit. Like, I just wouldn't want to wear that.
Yeah, it might be a decent investment because, like, them re-enabling the mixing and matching of outfit pieces is inevitable, in my opinion. They're going to do it at some point. People want it too bad. So it would be a good investment in that sense, but I'm not interested in it, really.
We know you have your sweaty Santa plan to bring back, Deo. It's okay.
That's
It'll
an inside
happen.
joke that just makes it really creepy for everyone else.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
My
we know.
sweaty Santa outfit. On my character, not me. But honestly,
Well,
if I could, I would be buying those gingerbread weapons, which I think are the most...
I mean, and the thing that kills me is that they originally did say that we don't allow mixing and matching of the pieces because of clipping. I'm having an issue right now where I'm using, for light armor for my Elementalist, I'm using the Sorrow's Embrace stuff.
Mhm.
Unless you're using the Sorrow's Embrace leggings, there's actually this really weird graphical disconnect between the leggings and the chest piece from Sorrow's Embrace that looks weird.
Mhm.
It's a clipping issue. And not between stuff like clipping through each other, but the fact that there's nothing between them, so you can see through the character at times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that bugs me is like, yeah, we won't let you do that with outfits because clipping, and
Don't give them any ideas about removing it for other armors and stuff. That's a bad idea.
Yeah,
It's fine. We
I
don't
think
mind.
Touch it. Just walk away
I mean, the
slowly.
clipping thing is clearly an excuse because to section off those different pieces would take that much longer in development, and then they wouldn't be able to crank out, 2 outfits a month or however many outfits they do a month. So it ultimately results in less revenue for them. So, but
Yeah,
I really
and-
think they'll end up splitting. They'll end up splitting in the future just due to popular demand. Because
So I
they'd
think
speed up and
I
increase
think
the
for a
supply.
lot of us it's a pass until they possibly someday down the road add mix and
I
matching
don't-
on an outfit. So
I don't think I'd even get it if I could mix and match it.
I might.
Well, the only problem is if you look at it, that back that you like is like a long coat, so it would probably be tied with the chest piece. So you get the window with the coat.
You get the
Yeah, I
window
don't
with
think
the
there's
coat.
any
That's a good
really
way to put it.
worthwhile pieces to this outfit.
Well, for the female, I like the top. Like, I could do that separately with
The
other
female just looks like such a generic outfit to me. It doesn't
Generic
It's not-
stripper wear.
not
And
even
Chad is
not
saying,
even
but
generic stripper wear, just generic caster outfit. It doesn't.
well, Chad is
stand
saying
out.
about how for the longest time Char and Asuran have been genderless. This is one of the first ones, especially for the Asura, that have had the female one. I think if I pull it up, it'll
Yeah.
bring up the
The Asura
First.
get the
The
male,
Char-
female.
like.
the Char
There's the
both
male one,
male.
but the female one will be next for the Asura, and it will definitely like they're definitely getting the
Yeah.
The female.
they're
model,
not getting
yeah.
the window as Jim was referring to it, and I actually love it.
Fantastic. But then
There's
they
the
didn't
female
do that
one.
with the Char, which I don't understand.
Yeah, so
The Char always looks like an unhappy kitten that's been stuffed into an outfit against its will by its owner, and I think it's hilarious every time they come out with outfits for
So,
Char.
I
I
mean-
can't get past the hair on that one for the male Char, like the orange Saiyan spikes. I'm just like. I
well,
think
that's not
we-
part of the outfit. So
I know, but still. That's,
Okay, as a
well,
fan of less ridiculous anime hairstyles, I think we should get them for like humans and Sylvari and stuff, just like the more tame ones that are actually cool looking.
Yeah.
well, and they also came out with the elegant fan focus, and I don't think my video thing's working. Or I'd have that.
Ah.
But OBS got
Yeah.
grumpy at the beginning of the show. It was fine before,
Mhm.
but the elegant fan focus skin basically showed like surprise, surprise, there was clipping with the focus because it was going through the kneecap of Dolphy. And once again, all these pictures are from Dolphy, so thanks again, Dolphy, for all the work of buying things so we don't have to. But I mean, what do you guys think about the fan focus? I know
I like it.
I like it.
It's cool. Like, there's not enough nice, fun focuses out there.
Okay.
So I'm really happy.
It's a focus. It's a focus that actually makes sense as an object you'd be holding in your hand.
Yeah.
Or as apart from just like, this is an odd lump of thing that was made with a handle.
Like, I'm carrying the stick that's rounded.
Well, yeah, it's like I was saying about the Balthazar focus last week. It looks like they chopped the head off of a bronze statue of a wolf and welded a handle onto it.
Yeah, exactly. They just look like
saying that like it's a bad
lamppost
thing.
accessories.
Well, okay. Like I said last week when you were talking about ambrosia. Focus, an object you channel magical energy through. It works, especially because, you're playing a Norn, and, a Norn could, focus energy through a Stein. Sure, why not?
I was going to say, don't make me fight you.
I'm not dissing ambrosia. It works, even from, like, a lore standpoint, because if it's a personal object, you can focus through it. The fan looks cool. I like how it actually has, it's open when you're wielding it, and it's closed when you have it stowed. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Every other focus, like, I think, what is it, Anomaly is just like the purple glow around your hand.
I like Anomaly.
Does it disappear when you stow
weapons?
weapons?
It's just a little ball of light on your hip.
See, I wish it would have just disappeared.
Yeah, that would be better. I think Anomaly is still my favorite focus, though.
Yeah.
But I mean, for the elegant fan focus, are you willing to buy or spend 600 gems either through gold or buying gems?
Yeah.
Because some people said they liked the fan, but 600 gems for them felt a little steep. I saw that going around.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
I'm gonna buy it. I mean, I can understand that, but like, I do dagger focus on my elementalist, and it has always annoyed me that I don't have, like, none of the focuses look good. I don't like any of them, and this is one that I actually like. So for me, I'm like, yeah, I'll buy it, definitely. But I can understand how for a focus, some people would be like, no, that's.
I'm gonna buy it in case I ever decide I want to use a focus, because like, apart from not really liking focus skins in general, I also don't really like any of the focus skills on any of the professions. So I don't use a focus right now.
Yeah, that's my problem with a lot of my characters. Like, anybody who can use a focus, I really don't like the skills. Warriors get a focus.
No, no.
That would be great.
So I think the consensus is a lot of us don't like the outfit, but like the fan.
Yeah.
We're fans of the fan.
Yeah.
Another interesting topic that kind of came up in this past week was a hacking issue.
Yes.
And I was considering not putting this on. I don't know, a hit or miss, but so many people in chat before were like, "Did you hear about this?" And I know I did. Basically, what happened, I think it was the senior secure, like,
Yeah.
like that I forget the person's name, unfortunately.
Chris Connolly? I think.
Chris Cleary.
Cleary.
And they basically, enough evidence was shown that this one person was using like botting and like basically hacking.
Hacking, yeah. And the thing is he was a pretty notorious hacker apparently on his server.
Like there was a lot of evidence that people were
there was
posting
a lot
against
of
him.
People reporting him.
And basically through the information that they posted, he was able to identify this account. And basically he posted a video on the forums of him basically jumping off or unequipping all the person's stuff, jumping off from the Duena statue in Divinity's Reach to its death, logging out, and then deleting his characters. And then he said in a message on the forums that he did ban the account, and I think he found another account associated with it or something like.
Somebody said something later in the forum thread and was like, well, that guy probably has other accounts, and he replied back and he said, I didn't say that was the only account I banned. So, like, clearly there were other ones and they were banned too. We don't know how many.
I'm kind of sad that they don't have Doom doing the banning.
And that was a lot of responses too. Was like, why don't they bring Doom back? Which, if you don't know, Guild Wars 1, that was probably one of the best banning things. People actually purposely banned themselves so they could get a video of it. Was Doom was a god, a former god in Guild Wars. Well, a former god before Guild Wars 1.
He's the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
Yes, and basically he came out of the ground with a giant scythe and cut the
Grim Reaper
person,
you.
and you were banned. That person was
Isn't
banned.
the Necro Lich form model similar to what Doom was modeled?
It's similar.
Loosely based.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
the
it's
same
actually
model
uses the same animation as I think one of the Halloween finishers they put out. Unfortunately, it uses Grenth instead of, but it's the same idea of it coming out of the ground with a scythe.
Also, some
chopping the
monsters
person.
in Ore use skins similar to Doom.
So, but I mean, how do you guys feel about them? It made, I think, BBC News, and I didn't even know this until earlier when someone mentioned it. Apparently, it also made The Guardian, which I believe is a British newspaper,
yeah.
I believe.
Yep.
So,
I mean, I think it's stupid that it made the news. Like, that's not newsworthy.
Well, yeah, it's really funny
slow
that,
news day.
that so many people are reporting this. Like,
You have
that's
nothing to
crazy.
report. Like,
Yeah.
but I mean, good news,
But-
good for ArenaNet. I mean, it got to the mainstream. Like I think they said like Guild Wars 2, like, and a multiplayer online game. Like, so it got a little publicity for him. And it's not like it was bad publicity, really. It's
Yeah.
they care about their game.
Yeah. Oh yes, that's something that people should be up in arms about. How dare they actually ban people that are doing bad things?
But
yeah,
I'm
I don't have a problem with it or anything. I think it was a little bit unprofessional to kind of post the video and stuff, but he was a hacker. So who cares about him?
yeah,
Good.
and that's like I want to say like one idea of devil's advocate, being a devil's advocate here. Granted, once again, I agree with Aaron. It's a hacker. I'm not saying he should have it or he or she should have their account back. Like, no, that's far from it. But we have in the past had developers be upset about people misusing their game features in the
The
sense
W
of
Dub incident is what.
Oh,
You're
yeah, the WW incident where the one
Yeah.
developer, and I think we found out he wasn't even a developer for WW,
No.
was like
Yeah, he didn't work on
saying,
that.
you're ruining my game type. Like, I think that was like the tagline
Yeah.
for the whole thing.
Yeah.
If developers or people from Arena had this power, is that a bit scary? That
No.
they
They
were
always
angry
have
enough
that
they
power.
could
I
come
was
in
gonna say
and
they're developers, so I hope they have that power.
well, yeah. But I mean,
Hey Deo,
Hmm.
I think your mouse is on Aaron's head.
It is.
well,
Oh, what do you know?
now you all can see who I favor in this podcast. It was,
Hey,
it
chat
was-
didn't even say anything. They didn't
But,
even notice.
I mean, literally everything. I haven't actually read the terms of service for Guild Wars 2. I don't know anybody who has, but generally speaking, we don't own anything.
yes,
of our
that
account.
is true.
Yeah.
We license it, and if we do something that breaks their terms of service, which hacking would be, we basically forfeit anything that we have in this game. Like, we lose access to the license if they see that as the reason. Oh, you have Anbu. Okay. I might.
Twice.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
That's dedication.
That's some dedication right there. But yeah, like, they had this power to do this to anybody everywhere for any reason.
Yep.
All of us could be permabanned for sneezing twice while playing the game.
I mean, you know,
Wait, is that a
making
thing?
Video and posting it was a little unprofessional, but I don't care. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
I think it's
we were
great.
talking about it before the show started, and I likened it to, you've read stories about people in customer service dealing with shitty customers,
Mhm.
and the manager comes up to them after this happens, and they're like, "That was awesome. Don't ever do it again, or I'll have to write you up."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, will we see? Is this going to become a thing? I don't think so,
No.
Yeah,
but
And it was probably one of the reasons that he did this particular video was because, like you said, this guy was renowned across the
Mhm.
game for being a blatant hacker, and so this was one of the few cases where it was kind of a big deal of a ban.
yeah. So they wanted to make an example. They wanted to show that they knew this big name. We have the evidence. This is what's happening.
It's basically the Ted Bundy of Guild Wars 2.
That's
Wow.
Okay. That's
Yikes.
a
Okay.
pretty.
Whew.
Now I think Aaron's trying to get through that Red Rover line we were talking about earlier.
I'm
But
never
yeah,
getting through. Forever
Yeah,
stuck on the
ultimately,
other
like
side.
I said, I wanted to just pose that idea of, but in reality, yeah, I found it funny and I would not complain about it personally. I'm sure someone out there, I was trying to preemptively do it on the internet. I'm sure someone out there would try to defend it.
Though, I mean, as an example, for Riot Games for League of Legends, one of the things you can do is if you get a ban of some sort, Riot Light is his tag. He is the behavioral committee chair, and you can post on the forums and say, I got chat restricted, I got banned, I got a ranked game ban. What did I do? What were the chat logs? And they can actually pull up all the things that were reported, and they're like, you did this, 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 and this, and this is why you're banned. And they post it
Guild
in
Wars
public
2 was doing
for
that for a little
everyone
bit.
to see. I'm sorry, what was that, Ari?
There was a thread not that long ago, long after Guild Wars 2 first came out. There was a thread where people would post and be like, "Hey, I was banned. Why was I banned?" And they would reply and like, "Oh, you did this, this, and this." That was a thing for quite a while. I don't know why it stopped.
Yeah,
but
they
it
actually
was
had like
really
screenshots like
awesome.
this is it, like to a point they did that a couple times where they're like, that's not what this screenshot of you swearing at all these people are
Yeah.
saying. Like,
I think one of the things, I think they actually stopped doing it at Riot as well because there was people were just posting in there just to say, just, I don't know, like it was a game to them.
Yeah.
It was entertainment.
Yeah, it became a, this isn't why you were,
Spectacle.
you're not, you know why you were banned, you just, you
Mhm.
know, want to see if
You
you'll get a
just wanna
response.
be in there, yeah. Yeah.
So,
You wanted to show people, look what I did that got me banned.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I would say chat saying like League Dangerous does something where it puts these hackers and cheaters on a separate server. I've known a couple
Oh,
games
there's a
to
few
do that,
games that
like
do
for
that,
like
yeah.
shooters
the
and
Toxic Island, yeah. That was actually something
love
that,
that.
They Alcatraz you.
that was actually another blog post because I read a lot. I play League also, and that was actually another thing they were talking about. And I think they don't do that because ultimately they want, like, it's not really functional for getting people to behave better
Yeah.
because you're now locked in playing with people that are doing the same thing or worse than what you were just doing, and that just makes you not want to play. So, I mean,
see why they
gener-
wouldn't be fine with that, but I'm fine with that. I think those people deserve each other.
yeah. Although I do like the one thing that Anbu said was that locking them away like that is a good way to have to beef up, like to figure out where things are breaking, because you have a concentrated area of people are all screwing with this. Clearly, that's something we need to fix. So, yeah, it's not
It's
a
free,
terrible
it's
way.
free
Yeah, I
beta
think-
testing. It's like
I
free
think
prison
ultimately we're all against this idea, and like I said, I was just trying to throw a little bit of devil's advocate in there. I'm glad they're getting rid of, hackers. So it's like, please stop getting rid of these people that are making the game worse, like ruining, economy or anything like that. Please, I think everybody's on the side of it's a good idea. Maybe not the public shaming. That's interesting, but I think if it's done in that manner and not like here's their, personal information,
Here's
that
here's
would be
their
an issue,
personal
which they
email
did
here.
not do. Like,
I guess I really do think that, like, I agree with Aaron, is that I think it's just with how big the guy was, like how well known of a hacker he was, that was the deciding factor as to why they posted the video. So,
but yeah, so it's a definitely interesting way to handle it. Another person that supposedly is leaving, but this time by choice. If anybody's ever been with the PvP scene, they probably know Blue. And he announced this week that he's actually moving on from Guild Wars 2, and he's usually a shoutcaster, has played PvP, which really helps shoutcast, of course. And I think he's been a big part of PvP in general, and I know for myself, I'm sad that he's going. I mean, granted, it is a sub-free game, so he can always come back. It's but I guess he's not gonna try to shoutcast Guild Wars 2 anymore. I think he said he's going to CS:GO, and I forget, he's mentioned another game, but I mean, if you've seen, you know, if you're a fan of Guildcast, I know he was on there for a little while, and also Josh Davis, who
I know Grouch was on there. I don't remember Blue being on there.
One episode.
was on like 1 or 2 episodes right after. Who is Josh Davis, who's now working with ArenaNet. So,
Josh
No.
Davis was on 1 episode.
sorry, I don't have the sheet. Like, you're out nerding me in this conversation. Like,
It's like you said, if he mentioned, you know, CS:GO or whatever, it's just if he's trying to make shoutcasting esports a career, that's the natural next step, because that's a much bigger game on the esports ladder.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it makes sense.
Like,
Yeah,
there's only so much that they could do with where Guild Wars 2 PvP is right now to help him out. So for him to make that change, I mean, that's sad for us, but it's awesome for him.
Yeah, and I think like that's just, you know, if you're following him on Twitter, if you like his style of shoutcasting, definitely, you know, keep tabs on him. Like I said, CS:GO should really find out the other, but you know, we're sad to see him go, but wish him luck. And you know, we're running out of time, so you know, this was our 21st podcast. You know, responsible as always. Jim, where can you be found?
I can be found on Twitter at MalthanusMMO.
And Robin, where can you be found? Technical difficulties.
Clearly. Can be found on Twitter at Arlie82, Arlie82 on Twitch, Gamebreaker TV, I write for them, all kinds of random stuff. I have a blog, MMO Arlie. I'm around a lot of places.
And Aaron, where can you be found?
I write at guildmag.com, and I'm at Twitter at Guild Wars Monk, where I tweet about whatever the hell I want.
And you can find me at simply_Deo on Twitter and Twitch. I will be. I probably throw a couple things to YouTube, but I probably want to stream more. So I got my green screen set up. I know that was a issue last week, and it pretty much took all week because time. I'm not a chronomancer, unfortunately. But you can find all of us here at GamebreakerNation.com. We're not just the Guild Wars 2 guild. We have World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV. They're getting their expansion, I think, within a month or something. So if you're maybe hopping back into that, hop on over to GamebreakerNation.com. Join a great group of people. Elder Scrolls Online. Just keep Elite Dangerous and Star Citizen. So if you're into the space flight sims, definitely head on over there. We just keep growing with members like you, so head on over to GamebreakerNation.com, sign on up. And as all, oh wait, actually, before I forget, we actually had a tweet that I forgot last week, and I think it's in this wheelhouse of responsibility. I mean, 21. Here was our question last week. Heard Ryan Reynolds and his wife got into the hot beta.
Thanks, Age. Thanks. Thanks.
On that note.
Night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.